So here we are at Petra, and I am walking through the Sikh. Petra is considered one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's on the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Not that I'm a fan of UNESCO, but this is where Esau and the Edomites dwelt. And the Jewish prophet Obadiah prophesied of this place. Now, the reason why Petra is known as the impregnable city is just simply looking at the bedrock here. Look at the high elevation here. So no doubt the Edomites had the upper hand. Right now I'm walking through what is called the Sikh, S-I-Q, which is a high narrow gorge, as you can see. And the reason why armies could not conquer this city is because they had the upper hand. They were on the upper hill. And there was only one entrance into Petra, and there was one entrance out. So there were not various entries that come into Petra for any foreign army to attack. But the problem with the Edomites is that they were such prideful, such arrogant individuals. We know, based on Genesis chapter 36, verses 1, 8, and 9, that after Esau broke away from his brother Jacob, they came and dwelt here in South Jordan. They came to dwell here at Petra. And this was a major trading route back in the day. But because they got so prideful, because they got so arrogant, God sent the Jewish prophet Obadiah to this area here to prophesy against the Edomites. You have a Jewish prophet who is prophesying to Gentiles. And what we read in Obadiah chapter 3, verses 3 and 4, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is on high, who saith in his heart, who can bring me down to the ground? Then God said, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou rest thy place among the stars, hence I will bring thee down, saith the Lord. So God said that he would bring down the Edomite empire. God said that he would destroy the Edomite empire. And that's exactly what he did. So you look at this place today, you know, all you see are remains here. And it's very impressive. You notice that the rock color formation is red. Well, red in Hebrew is Adom. Adom. Edom was born hairy and red. So you look at the rock formation here, they're red. This is where him and his people dwelt. And, you know, you look at this very, very impressive water channel here. Very impressive water channel. And so Obadiah prophesied about this place and said, God's going to bring you down. They were probably even getting arrogant about that. And that's exactly what happened, because we know that in the 2nd century BC, the Nabateans of Saudi Arabia came here. At first, they sort of like made peace with the Edomites, but that was under false pretenses. And there was a major, major banquet at that time, right here at Petra. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the banquet, the Nabateans just brought out their swords and they just started hacking away at the Edomites. They killed many Edomites. Some of those Edomites fled down the Sikh that you see over there, and they fled. They went left, they went east, and they went over into southern Judea, and their names changed from Edom to Idumea. We read about Idumea in Ezekiel chapter number 35. And so the Nabateans from Saudi Arabia came in here. And pretty much all the work that you see here today at Petra was done by the Nabateans, not the Edomites. That water channel I just showed you, that was all carved out by the Nabateans. And there are tombs all over the place here, Nabatean tombs everywhere. You will see a Roman amphitheater here, because the Nabateans did give up this place to the Romans. And you can see some of the remains of their carvings are still here. But the Nabateans were also the ones that carved out that beautiful 5-story high treasury that's very familiar to all of you. If you watch the Indiana Jones movie, I think it's the Temple of Doom if I'm not mistaken, where it shows Harrison Ford and his people coming out of the 5-story high Petra Treasury. And that was created by the Nabateans. They are the ones that constructed that 5-story high treasury. And looking at it, you can see a beautiful sundial on there. The remains of eagles, and I find that to be pretty interesting. The remains of eagles on there, without the heads, by the way. Maybe over time, the decay, rain, acid and all that just pretty much ate all of that away. And so the Nabateans destroyed the Edomite kingdom. They dwelt here, and this is where they've been ever since, until the Romans came in. And again, I want you to look at this impressive Sikh. Now, this is my 4th time being here at Petra. We were at Mount Nebo for the first time, in my 29 trips to Israel, and my 4th time coming here to Jordan. We've never been to Mount Nebo in the north, but we were there yesterday, and that is where Moses viewed the promised land before he died. We read this in Deuteronomy chapter 32, verses 49 and 50. We also saw an impressive model, if you will, of the bronze serpent wrapped around the pole. And that takes you to Numbers chapter 20, verses 7 through 18. Those Edomites, those descendants of Esau, again, Genesis chapter 36, verses 1, 8, and 9. Esau is the father of the Edomites. His grandson, Amalek, staunch enemy of Israel, he's mentioned in Genesis chapter 36 and verse number 12. And we see in Exodus chapter 17 that Amalek is at war with Israel in Exodus 17. And then we see Amalek's descendant, Agag the Amalekite. Well, he's mentioned in 1 Samuel chapter number 15. Saul, Israel's first king, was supposed to kill him, but that didn't happen because Saul didn't want to listen to anybody but himself, rather. And the Jewish prophet Samuel had to kill Agag, but Agag was known as Agag the Amalekite. Well, that simply means he was a descendant of Amalek, the grandson of Esau, the father of the Edomites. But then when we get to the book of Esther, chapter number 3, we see a descendant of Agag. He is known as Haman the Agagite. He's the son of Hammedatha. He's an Agagite. Well, that just simply means that he is a descendant of Agag in 1 Samuel 15, who was a descendant of Amalek, Genesis 36, 12, who's the grandson of Esau, the father of the Edomites. So if you fast forward through time, you get to the 1st century AD, we see a great descendant of Haman, who tried to kill all the Jews in Persia. His name is Herod the Great. It's called Herod the Great not because he was a great guy. He was far from being a great guy. It's called Herod the Great because of his major building projects in the Holy Land. For example, Masada, near the Dead Sea. We were just at Masada. Herodium, that man-made snow cone-shaped mountain where he was buried, by the way. And of course, the maritime sea merchant place there at Caesarea. But Herod is known because of the temple in Jerusalem. I want to just point this out to you here. You can see original street here from the 2nd century BC. You see something right there. From the 2nd century BC. And so we see that Edomite family tree there. Herod was an Edomite. His father Antipater ruled this region where I am right now, right here, Petra. And it was Herod the Great that was responsible for the murder of the innocents, killing Jewish boys from 2 years old and younger. Here's some more original streets right here. And you can notice the grooves here. Notice the grooves in between these stones. That is so the horses wouldn't slip when they were transporting or people were riding the horses there. Herod murdered the innocents there in hopes of striking the king of the Jews, born in Bethlehem. So we see that Edomite family tree there today. But if you, again, look at the events of 70 AD, again, you see more of the streets here. This time goes all the way down, original streets. You go to 70 AD, we see the destruction of Jerusalem by the Roman Empire, led by General Titus, the son of the Roman Emperor Vespasian, bringing the 10th Roman Legion into the city of Jerusalem, destroyed the city, sacked the temple, brought it down. Jews were scattered to the four corners of the earth. But what happened to those Edomians who escaped this area that I'm in right now, Petra, who fled through this Seek? That's where I'm in now. See, this is the Seek, okay? That's the Seek. That's the entrance there. Whatever happened to those Edomians who fled this area when the Nabateans invaded and attacked? Fled over into southern Judea. They became known as Idumea. What happened to them? Because they were living in Jerusalem at that time as well. So what happened to them? Well, they also escaped. But those Idumeans, they ended up fleeing north to a place called Bosnia. Well, you fast forward to World War II. Adolf Hitler comes to power. And he is the most powerful leader in Nazi Germany. And he wants to liquidate all the Jews. And he did, 6 million of them. But one of the most high-ranking Islamic Grand Muftis of the Middle East, a man by the name of Hajj Aman al-Husseini, is invited by Hitler to visit Berlin, have a sit-down, have a chat with the Führer. They're both sitting down discussing ways on how they can liquidate the Jewish people. And if you visit Yad Vashem, the Memorial Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem, there's a picture of Hajj Aman al-Husseini and Adolf Hitler sitting down, discussing ways on how to kill the Jews. And this is what Adolf Hitler said to Hajj Aman al-Husseini. He said, "We'll liquidate the Jews here in Europe. I want you to go to Bosnia and gather a massive Arab army and bring them down to the Middle East to kill every single Jew." Where did that massive Arab army in Bosnia come from? Well, those ancient Idumeans who fled the 70 AD destruction of Jerusalem, settled in Bosnia. They were there ever since. And Hajj Aman al-Husseini goes there, gathers a massive Arab army to bring them down to the Middle East to kill every single Jew there in the Middle East. But what's also interesting is that Hajj Aman al-Husseini had a nephew. His name, well, yeah, you guessed it, Yasser Arafat. the founder and the leader of the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, with the goal of destroying Israel, taking Jerusalem and the land. So the Edomite family tree would consist of Esau, Genesis 36, 1, 8, and 9. His grandson, Amalek, Genesis 36, 12. Amalek's descendant, Agag, 1 Samuel 15. Haman, descendant of Agag, Esther chapter 3, who tried to hang every Jew in Persia. Herod the Great, the Edomians, Hajj Aman al-Husseini, Yasser Arafat. So, who do we have left today? A simple reading of Ezekiel chapter 35 tells us who they are. And today, they are the Palestinians, who do not want peace with Israel and want to see every single Jew driven into the sea. So we read in Ezekiel 35, also in Obadiah, and in Malachi chapter 1, verse number 4. Palestinians today say they want their own state. They want their own borders. But a simple reading of Malachi chapter 1 and verse number 4, God says, those are the borders of wickedness, and the people whom the Lord hath indignation forever. So being here at Petra right now, walking down this seek, this high, narrow gorge, the clefts of the rock. You know, we read about the clefts of the rock. Well, this is the cleft of the rocks right here. They had the higher ground. One way in, one way out through the seek. This reminds me, being here at Petra, that one day Bible prophecy is going to be fulfilled. And it will be fulfilled when God destroys the enemies of Israel. When God destroys the enemies of the Jewish people. I'm going to see if I can get through this. See if I can get through these people here. Thank you. So, Bible prophecy, ladies and gentlemen, will be fulfilled. Just as God said to Obadiah verses 3 and 4, I will bring you down to the ground. Even though you say you exalt yourself as an eagle and you set your nest among the stars, God said, I'm going to bring you down. That's exactly what he did. And he probably used the Nabateans of Saudi Arabia to do exactly that. So we see somewhat the stage being set today. Actors are getting into position. Curtain is about to go up on the end time drama. Because we know that the next main event on God's calendar of activities is the rapture of the church. That's the next main event. No signs precede it. No prophecies have to be fulfilled. It could happen even today when I'm here at Petra. We're walking down the Seek, S-I-Q, high, narrow gorge. And I'm going to continue to walk until I see that entrance at Petra. And I'm going to be doing another video shoot right there at that 5-story high Treasury at Petra. Even though I pretty much said what I had to say, which I'm going to be saying when I'm in front of that 5-story high building there. Yeah, if you've never been to Israel, you need, oh, by the way, this could not be, the timing could not be perfect, okay? Because right now, I just approached the entrance to Petra. And folks, here it is. Here it is. I thought I had a long way to go, but there it is. You see this on TV, you see it on documentaries. But folks, here we are. Now that I'm here, we'll extend the video a little bit. That is the 5-story high treasury at Petra. So let's just point out a few things here. Okay. There's really nothing to see inside. It's just one big empty treasury. But you'll notice to the right over here, those indentations, that was how they climbed up there. Again, in order to chisel away, in order to construct, you don't do it from the bottom up. You do it from the top to bottom. That way the stones don't fall down on you if you're trying to go, if you're trying to do it from the bottom up. And of course, that's the sundial. I was telling you right there. There's the sundial there. But here's also what I wanted to point out, folks. Notice, okay, I'm going to see if I can point it out with my finger. Okay, let me see if I can maybe, right there, okay? And another one, right there, okay? Those are eagles. Those are eagles, just like American eagles. And this reminds me of Revelation chapter number 12, when the woman flees into the wilderness, where she had the place prepared of God. We're in the wilderness. It's Petra. We know it's Petra, based on Isaiah chapter 16, verses 1 and 4, Isaiah 26:20, Isaiah 63, 1 through 6, Revelation 12:6, and Revelation 12:14. So we know that the Jewish people at the midway point of the tribulation period will flee to the area that I'm in right now. God will shelter them here for the last half of the 70th week, for the last half of the 7-year period of tribulation. Revelation 12:6 tells us, and the woman fled into the wilderness where she had the place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days, 1,060 days. And we read in Revelation 12:14, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle. And I just find it fascinating that there's an eagle there and an eagle there. 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time, times, and half the time from the face of the serpent. The surviving Jewish remnant will find shelter right here at Petra for the last half of the tribulation period. And many, many decent Bible prophecy teachers and Bible prophecy scholars all believe throughout the centuries that this would be the location. Even though Petra is not mentioned by name, Petra, but yet when you look at the geographical location, we know that this is going to be the place where the surviving Jewish remnant will be. And so that's why I encourage Christians to come here and see this place. Now, people say, well, yeah, people go there all the time and they hide Bibles at Petra. I don't see any evidence of that at all. I've heard that all of my years being a believer, almost 34 years being a believer. But I don't see any evidence of any Bibles being hid here, for the surviving Jewish remnant to read during the last half of the tribulation period. But this will be the place, this will be the location where the surviving Jewish remnant will be held up for the last 3.5 years. And so again, based on the passages that I just gave you, the geographical location, this will be the place. And there is that 5-story high treasury there at Petra. That's the reason why it's, today it's one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's the impregnable city. And so, after 2 years since COVID, I never thought I'd see myself back here again. But here we are. Now, there's the Sikh right there, okay? There's the Sikh. That is where you exit to come out here to the Treasury. So if I leave through there. Remember, there's only one way out. Okay, I should say one way in and one way out. Right here, Petra. This is where God will feed, protect, and shelter the surviving Jewish remnant from the Antichrist when he breaks his covenant with Israel in Daniel chapter 9 and verse number 27. Matthew 24:15, the abomination of desolation. When he desecrates the temple, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4, and Revelation chapter 11, verses 1 and 2. So this will be the location. So let me just pan around here so that all of you can see. Now, if I had my way, I would like to go into this treasury, but I can't. Maybe they're afraid of fallen rock. I don't know. But it's forbidden. There's no entry in here, and that's what it says right here. No entry. Before you could enter, but right now you can't. And here is the main entrance right here. Possibly another entrance right there. So that's why, I encourage all of you, hey, take a trip to Israel. Come with us on one of our Bible prophecy tours. We have a great group of people here with us right now. And I can see them making their way down the Sikh. And this is it. Here we are. Petra. That will play a major role in the end times, according to Bible prophecy. So we see the stage being set. The actors are getting into position. Curtain is about to go up on the end time drama. Very popular place, as you can see in the Indiana Jones movie, of them coming out of the Treasury here. So this is Dr. August Rosado with Today in Bible Prophecy Ministries, coming to you from South Jordan, right here in Petra, saying, keep looking up. Jesus is coming soon, sooner than we think. And Sha'alu Shalom Yerushalayim, pray for the peace of Jerusalem.